All my friends were musically inclined growing up.
Okay.
And they were in bands, and I was always more of a band manager
Okay.
because I had no musical.
Hey, that's important too.
I had no musical. I say that, but I wasn't actually very good at that either. But I'll never forget. I would sit in band practice for hours and hours every week, and my best friend was the drummer. And so I would just sit there and I would like pick up a drumstick and I learned how to twirl a drumstick.
Oh, sure.
And I can twirl a drumstick really, really good. And I would walk around the halls in high school just twirling a drumstick. And I remember being a senior and a freshman walked up and he's like, "Oh, hey, do you play the drums?" And his buddy like hits him in the shoulder. He's like, "Of course he does. What idiot carries around a drumstick that doesn't play the drums?" I was like,
yeah.
This idiot.
This guy.
I probably didn't say that. I probably was like, "Oh yeah, of course I play the drums." So.
Oh, that's funny.
I've got no rhythm.
Hopefully my former band teacher doesn't listen to this, but I was like the person who played the clarinet the very minimal amount that I had to. And when we had to march in the parades down here, I was marching and I was on beat for that, but I was not playing.
All right.
Sorry, Mom.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of What's Your One Thing? You just heard a clip of the episode you're about to hear, and that is an interview I had with Kim Mauthe. She is the events, promotion, and social media coordinator at My Love Music, but she is much more than that. She is a hilarious human, and we got into some awesome facts and hidden gems, as well as just had some fun. So enjoy this wide-ranging conversation between myself, Kim, and her intern, Mackenzie. I realized that I should probably get something to drink before we start.
Okay, I just did that too.
Would you do me a favor? Is there a pink? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Man, this is so cool having an intern.
This is the other duties as assigned on your intern.
I need an intern.
You do.
Okay, this is an announcement. Anybody wants to be a unpaid podcast intern?
A wish list item. Yep.
My Christmas wish
It
list.
is pretty nice.
Okay. Well, welcome, Kim. I'm gonna have you give just a quick elevator pitch, name and your position with Mile of Music.
Sounds good. My name's Kim Mauthe with Mile of Music, and I'm the social media promotions and engagement coordinator.
You've been with the festival the entire span. You actually
have.
started as an intern. Shout out intern. That's so cool. So kind of walk through how you got that position and what it's been like over the last 12 years working with what seems to be a super cool organization.
Yeah, it's been quite the adventure, especially throwing a pandemic in there. And, coming out on the other side of that, it's just been such a cool experience. So I went to school at UW-Milwaukee for marketing and communications. And my dad is the co-founder of My Love Music. It's kind of one of those things, we were driving back from college and he's like, "Hey, we're going to be starting this music festival this year. You just changed your major to marketing," which I always said I'm never going to do marketing because he's been in marketing my whole life. It was one of those, I don't want to do what you do. And here I am. But
I don't want to interrupt you, but I did see that on your LinkedIn page. You're like, I specifically, in quotes, "I will never do what my parents do."
Nope.
And here you are.
Yep, and they were both in marketing. So he kind of said, "Would you be interested in just seeing what it's all about?" We obviously had no idea the first year what that meant. So I think it was a really cool experience for me, and I think for everyone on the team at that point, because we had no idea if 100 people were going to show up or if 50,000 people were going to show up. I think that first year we had about 15,000, which was way more than we bargained for, I think. So we learned a lot.
Was there enough porta potties? That's the question.
I honestly don't remember. I hope so. I think I would remember if there weren't.
Yeah.
But so, every year we've grown in different ways and our team has grown. We're still a small team. There's only 8 of us or 10 of us who are working on this full time throughout the year. But it's really been quite the ride. Every year is different. Every year has its own challenges, but it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for the background. As somebody who also said I'm never going to do what my parents did, I haven't jumped on that boat. My dad was very, let's say, mechanically inclined and was really good working with his hands. And I always wanted to be a psychiatrist.
Okay.
And I used to talk to him while we were in the garage and he was having me hold a flashlight. I'd say, "Hey, does it make you feel bad that I'd rather ask the tools how they're feeling than actually know how to use them?"
And tell me, Soccer, how are you feeling?
Yes. I just feel twisted.
Twisted. Twisted how?
I don't know, like Everyone's dependent on me, and I'm trying to hold it together, but I'm just this close to stripping out. You did not find that as funny as you did.
I think it's funny. It sounds like something I would have said too. I did like a take your daughter to work day back in the day, and I just remember like sitting in meetings, and that was what I remembered. That's what I thought my parents did. And then, you know, once I went to college, learned more about PR. My dad kind of saw the shift before I did, and then he kind of saw the, you know, the light bulb moment where he knew I was going to switch my major, and I'm like, so I kind of think I like this better, and he's like, yeah, I kind of saw that coming. So
Well, at least they didn't throw in an I told you so.
yeah, well, I'm sure that happened.
Okay, fun fact. We actually had a gap year where we were at UWM at the same
Really?
time.
Oh my gosh.
I was at UW 2014.
Okay.
Yep,
Yep,
so
I graduated in 15.
Yeah, so I was there. Now, did not graduate. I am a film school dropout.
Okay.
So fun fact about UWM, they're very artsy.
Yes.
And when people ask, they're like, hey, how is it? I said, well, one senior thesis, his video was the original Amityville horror movie from the 60s, now played in reverse on a projector while it was shot over a swing set, and that swing set had a chair tied to it.
Okay.
And then while the film was running, he would hit the chair with a baseball bat to make it spin.
Wow.
And it got a standing ovation.
Oh my gosh.
And then, there's just so many instances, and I'll tie this all together because I've had a passion for film. I really love it. I wanted to go to school for it.
Yep.
And one of my first lectures, the professor made an obscure reference to a French filmmaker, and about 60% of the class laughed. And the other 40 of us looked at each other and were like, we definitely don't belong here.
Sure.
There's always this really tight-knit sense of community when it comes to things like film, music, and I've always just felt like an outsider because I've never had this strong affiliation to the point where I've been so passionate about something where that's all me and my friends talk about. We know all the ins and outs, you know, the bands, their songs, what they eat for lunch.
Right.
There's just, you can get so ingrained in it.
Oh, for sure.
And I kind of pushed that onto the back burner for so long. Fast forward to my 30s, I'm almost craving that sense of community. And that's kind of what took me down this rabbit hole, is help me understand music. Music has this sense of community and this sense of belonging. It's very opening and it's very accommodating.
Yep.
And I'm starting to see that now, which I've been blinded to. So I want to know more about what does the festival bring in the sense of a community?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think a great background to a lot of what we are trying to do as well, because I will be one of the first to say that I'm not like a music aficionado by any means. I listen to music, and I always, you know, there were bands that I followed, kind of what you were talking about, like really getting into certain artists and certain bands that I will not name on a podcast, but
please do.
Anybody who knows me listening will know who I'm referring to.
What's
but
that rhyme with?
no, we're not even going there. The bands I was referring to, now that you're not recording, were, I'm still a huge fan, and then
There's nothing wrong with that.
I also love. So I think what's really nice about this festival is it brings a sense of community not only to fans but also to the artists. We find a lot of artists come here and they befriend people in this community. So we've had examples of artists who come here and they meet somebody, and then the next time they come here and they're playing a show at Gibson or somewhere else downtown, and they'll say, hey, can I stay with you when we're here for this show? Or they'll go out for dinner. So, I mean, those relationships are really cool, and I really value the community piece of what we're doing. So I think there's such a balance of both. And hopefully people, when they come to the festival, feel that sense of community. And we're all here to discover the same artists and find which ones we like the best. I have a question for you, if I can ask.
Absolutely.
It's okay if you don't have an answer. Do you have any artists that you're looking forward to seeing this year?
Okay, so hold on. Yes. Yes, I've started to
I'm so glad I asked.
I've started to like. I was going to ask you, but I'm like, she can't pick favorites. She's not going to tell me.
It's okay. I do sometimes.
Give me a second. So like songs, I just did this. So this was What Did You Drag Me Into by Flamy Grant. I apologize.
Flamy Grant.
Flamy Grant. I really like that.
Yep.
Let It Rain.
TAE The Neighborly. Yep.
TAE The Neighborly.
Yep. They're local too, Green Bay.
Oh, sweet. All right, shout out Green Bay. All right, and then I think the last one, there's a couple on here. Spit Out the World, Jennifer Harlee, Katie Stenson.
Okay.
And then You, Moonglow.
Moonglow.
Okay.
Moonglow's Milwaukee.
Those were the last. I just
Solid picks.
Yeah, solid picks. Appreciate that. I don't know why I'm repeating you. I was just like a bird. I was like, yeah, solid picks. I appreciate that.
I would say 99% of people will find at least one band that they like. I would be willing to put money on that, actually.
Yes. All right, so we'll go through the stats. Is it 200 artists?
Yep, just over 200.
Yeah, just over 200 artists. 80,000-ish expected in attendance. So yeah, if you can't find at least one artist, that would be pretty great, even for me, somebody that doesn't understand music. So I'm excited. So after a little bit of research, there is more than just music. So it sounded like there is this music experience or something for kids. So I have two young daughters. Their birthdays are coming up, so it's not that I forgot their ages. They're going to be 3 and 7 at the time of the festival.
Yep.
What can kids like that do?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
We have our music education team, and they actually have programs for all ages too. There are, 0 to 5 programs and 0 to 10 programs, but there's also like songwriting workshops for people 10 and up, which I think a lot of people have that sense of creativity in them, but aren't necessarily using it. I think we all go through that as adults where you stop doing the things that you always like to do, but then it's always fun to pick it back up. For example, there's a ukulele workshop that is always really popular with kids, with their grandparents, or kids with their parents. And I mean, how fun is that to just try it? I mean, no risk. It's all free. So it's a really cool program.
All right. Are there any more hidden gems like that? People hear music festival, and sometimes that can have a bad connotation. Like you can think of Coachella, you can think of fill in the blank of some EDM DJ show, and it's not that. So kind of what is the festival, looking at it from a 30,000-foot view?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question, and I could go off about it for probably a long time. But I think one really nice thing about the festival is the fact that we have about 35 different venues. So if your vibe is not the packed music club sort of vibe, there's plenty of other venues for you to check out. If you prefer a seated listening room vibe, we have about 13 or 14 venues that offer that. If your mobility is challenged or you just don't want to go actually on the Ave, we have a few venues that are off the avenue. And then Lawrence University, for example, has 3 venues right on the campus. So if you wanted to just park over there, stay over there, you'd have a whole festival experience in that little area alone. Same with the Hilton Hotel. Okay. So I think that kind of makes it unique, just having all these different coffee shops, bars, restaurants, where I think most festivals, it's kind of like a singular venue, maybe with a couple different stages, especially in the summer.
We'll wrap it up. I want to get people excited. Is there any fun stories that you've been with the festival for so long? Anything you are legally okay to say on film and on camera?
No, I'm good there. So one that comes to, I have a lot, but one that comes to mind right away whenever I get asked this question is Christopher Gold. Mile 1, we had some kinks to work out, and we were kind of running on all cylinders with a very small team at that time. Still a small team. Still running on all cylinders sometimes.
Like 10 is not a lot for that big of a festival.
So Christopher, we were doing our very last show of the weekend, which was kind of everything that first year was very organic. It was like, hey, let's do a pop-up here. Let's do a pop-up here. So we were doing our very last showcase, which we now call A Song Before We Go. And it's at the Lawrence Chapel. And we had said, we'll open doors at this time. And we were a little bit past that, and people were getting a little antsy. And, I'm 20 at the time, and I'm trying to deal with these people. And they're, getting cranky. And Christopher, he's a really funny guy. So he comes out and he goes, hey, everyone, show's canceled. And everyone's like, what the heck? And he's like, I'm just kidding. We'll open doors in like 5 minutes. And then everyone's like, oh, yeah. So that always is funny to me. And then that first year, Nora Jones, who I think a lot of people are familiar with, she was not an official artist for the festival. She was here because I think her now boyfriend at the time, was part of a band. And so she tagged along. And I just remember she hopped on the piano at the chapel and played along with Adrielle Dene, who's now local to this area. And the two of their voices together was just so beautiful. So that's another one that comes to mind. Oh my gosh, I have so many stories. And just like you know, the late night shenanigans. And the last night of the festival, we kind of do like a jam after, and there's always so much love there with all the artists and stuff. So just really fun to meet a lot of people. I would say that's more my experience, is the behind the scenes, meeting the artists. I actually don't see a lot of music during, which I think a lot of...
sad.
No, it's not though, because I think for me, I like to build a community around what we're doing and make sure everything kind of goes off without a hitch, hopefully.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you, or I would say the
Well,
audience appreciates you, because so many people love it so much. I mean, you can't talk to anybody here, especially that is from the area or even outside. Everybody
Yeah.
knows Milan music.
Well, thank you.
It's people know Green Bay for the Green Bay Packers. They know Appleton for Milan music. So it's really cool to get the chance to sit down with somebody that's been a part of it since
Yeah,
the beginning,
well, thank you.
and to hear some really fun stories, and just to get to know a little bit more about, hey, it's not just a music festival.
Mm-hmm.
It brings the community together, not only physically together, but economically, I'm sure brings some great value to
Yes.
the area.
And that was a big push, not to interrupt you, but that was a big push for the festival, was getting people in to the restaurants, bars, coffee shops, hotels. Being a free festival, not the easiest thing in the world to operate. Costs are really high, but we really value the fact that this community has embraced the festival for this long. And obviously we hope that continues well into the future too.
No, absolutely. And if you can't say it, that's fine. But
okay.
is it one of the largest costs? Like, you guys pay to get the artists here, right? So like they are compensated as
Yes.
artists for coming to the festival.
Yes.
It's
I'm
not-
glad
they're
you
not-
asked.
Yes, they're not doing it for free. So when people talk about, hey, it's a free festival, there is tons of money, time, and resources that come
Yes.
into putting this together to make it free.
Yep, absolutely. Somehow it's still a big misconception. I think artists have been paid all 12 years. Every single artist has been paid. But like you said, there's a lot of resources that go into that. So we're very fortunate to have community partners that jump on to help support financially. And then we also have a nonprofit that accepts donations toward the actual artist fees. But then it's all the things on top of that that you don't think of. So we have the artist compensation, we have production costs, city permits, just all of these behind the scenes things that I think a lot of people, I mean, any event you go to, you just don't realize everything that goes into it.
No, absolutely. Well, again, I think that's a good place to end. We are running out of sunlight here in the studio. It's getting very dark.
Yeah,
But
what is
that's
that?
fine. Everybody's just listening. So, again, Kim, appreciate you so much on
Thank
coming
you
on.
for having me.
Yeah, this has been so much fun. I'm really enjoying this new segment, learning so much about not only music, about myself, because it is such a beautiful language. Music is one of the things that is understood across cultures.
Yeah.
And that's what this rabbit hole is kind of taking me down, that it's something that not only help you grow as a person, but in a good way, change and grow. So that's what I'm looking to do. And I'm really excited to join Mile as a fan this year.
Love it.
And yeah, I can't wait for it. One last plug. Let's talk about the date and the app.
We've announced 130 artists so far, so all of those artists are on the app. Then we'll, start doing push notifications closer to of reminders for that. All of the artists' music education, venue information, schedule will be on there. Schedule usually comes out around the 4th of July. Very much looking forward to that. It's all going to happen really quick, but we're excited.
All right, last, the dates.
Yes. Dates are July 31st through August 3rd.
Okay.
Mile
Alright.
12.
Mile 12.
Downtown.
Okay, everybody. I hope you will join me, and well, Kim's going to be in the background somewhere, but making sure the festival runs smoothly. Please join us out. It's going to be beautiful. Weather's going to be perfect.
Yes, it sure will.
It's going to
I
be
like
amazing.
it.
And
Yep.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be talking to more people, hopefully some more artists, and just continuing this deep dive into what it means to listen to music, make music, and just enjoy music in general.
Yeah,
So, all
love
right, Kim,
it.
I appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you
so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. Peace. I always say, I'm going to get a shirt made. It says Peace Out, Girl Scout, because that's what I say at the
All
end of
right,
almost
well, there
every
you go.
episode. So, yeah, Peace Out, Girl Scout. See you
Love
next
it.
week. And then out. I've made the mistake of turning it off, and then something really fun happens at the
Okay,
end. So I
sure.
leave it on for a
So
second.
if
but
there's
yeah.
like a blooper or
Yeah, the
something.
blooper is my favorite.
And tell me, Socket Wrench, how does this make you feel?
No, baby, just relax. Baby, relax.